Hi, this is Philip at Château Avensac, and you may notice that I'm outside and, in fact, on the back terrace of the chateau. I have been doing tours of the interior rooms, the principal rooms, and I was planning to do the salon next, but we've been getting a lot of requests for what's outside the chateau, and actually the weather right now is just kind of perfect for it. At this time of year, we have the cyclamen are coming up, and they're really stunningly beautiful. So today, we're going to take a walk on the terraces of the chateau. Let's go. I am currently standing with the door to the reception room right behind me. So I'm basically in the middle of the house, on the back side of the house, looking out at the terrace. And if we just look a little to the left, you can see the back terrace of the house. This really is a really lovely space. It's facing southeast. It gets a lot of sun in the morning. And then in the afternoon, of which you can tell now because you can see that shadow line cutting across. In the afternoon, the sun goes to the side of the house and then it cuts along the straddle across the back of the house. And it's really very pleasant. We planted 5 sycamore trees across the back of a house. And eventually, at the probably end of the fall, we are gonna trim them back and start training them together. The idea is that we'll be able to see through them from the lower floor, the ground floor where I am now, and see across the tops of them from the upper floors so that you can see the really amazing views of the valley of the Gimone River, which is the river that cuts down the middle of the valley. You might notice that's just kind of an irregular shape to the back terrace. It's actually one of the few parts of the chateau where there isn't like this great perfect symmetry. To the left here, where I'm pointing now, it's much deeper. And then as we go to the right, it becomes much shallower from the house to the wall of the terrace. And that is because that wall we're looking at is actually part of the original 14th century chateau. It's part of one of the defensive walls, and it actually was the wall of the chateau that was here before, and that was the shape of it. And we are on the top of a ridge, at the end of the ridge, so right where the chateau is, the ridge then delves down into the valley, and the original 14th century chateau was built here for its defensive position. Behind the chateau is the village of Avensac, and so the chateau stood in front of the village to protect the village from invaders coming down through the valley. As I walk towards these gates, we have the staircase that goes down. This staircase is at a, I don't know how to explain it. It's just at a really strange angle. And it's very odd, it's very bizarre, but when you're at the bottom looking up, it creates an illusion of sort of better symmetry when you're looking up at the house. And we are looking down now the stairs to what we call the mid-terrace. So there's really 3 levels going on. The level I'm standing on now, which is the back terrace of the chateau, the mid-terrace, and then the park that's below that. And you can see the 2 pillars in front of me from the mid-terrace, and that's the grand staircase going down into the park. And here we are on the mid-terrace. I know you want to know what's going on down below there, but before we go down to the park, we're going to take a look at this mid-terrace. The mid-terrace is lined by linden trees. In French, these are called tilleul trees. Tilleul, I don't know. It's something like that. It's so hard to get your mouth around sometimes. They produce a flower that you can dry and then use for a tea that's supposed to be very pleasant. And in this area, I guess there must be some groves of them because you can get to honey, which is also supposed to be quite good. On the ground underneath the trees, and this just started a few weeks ago, is the cyclamen. These really lovely pale violet flowers that are growing. So let's take a look at the wall. This is the terrace wall. So I was just on the upper terrace, the back terrace of the house, and this is that stone wall that's supporting that terrace. This is what I said before, is part of the old 14th century chateau defensive system. It may be that where I'm standing now was a moat or some kind of dry moat as part of the defensive system. And you can see it has these buttresses that support the walls. And these buttresses kind of go all around the walls of the chateau. Okay, here I am, back to where I started. This is the grand staircase that goes from the mid-terrace down into the park. It goes down and then splits left and right. This is on the old maps that show the old chateau here, and this staircase is shown as part of that. What's also interesting about the old maps, and we'll have to find a copy of it, I know we have a picture of one somewhere, is that there was a lane that went straight from the staircase down through the park, which is no longer there. But at one point there was actually a lane through the park. And here we are in the park. Well, I'm still in the stairs, but in the park. Over on the side here, you can see that there's an arch under these are the stairs I just came down. You can see there's an arch. And actually just last year, shortly after we bought the chateau, the side of the wall under the arch tumbled down just a little bit. This obviously has to get looked at and figured out. It was clearly an open space at one time, and it had been filled in. I don't know if that was filled in because there was some problem with supporting the arch and the stairs above, or what the reason was. We'll have to have an engineer or a mason look at this and determine, what we can do. I'd love to be able to open it up again, but only, of course, if the structure is safe. It's not a worry about where it fell out, because the piece that fell out, there was actually a void just behind that section of it. And so I think that was just filled in so that, I don't know, so it didn't leave a weird hole there. So structurally, it wasn't significant. At the bottom of the stairs, when people come to visit and they approach the chateau, this is one of the first views that they see, first glimpses of the chateau, is the bottom of these stairs. And of course, they see that door under the middle section of the stairs. And it's like, oh, what's in there? And it's incredibly disappointing. It's just a small little closet, really, just a little stone closet. And it currently has a fig tree growing out of the side wall, which during the week I have to take out because I don't want it to cause any problems. You can see it's just a little stone chamber. It's not nearly as exciting as you want it to be. It does have some lovely moss and fern-like plants growing out of the wall, and a fig tree which needs to be dealt with shortly. It's honestly, if you don't keep on top of these things, the forest just wants to take over. You can see here under the trees, there's a lot of cyclamen growing on the floor of the park, which is really, it's hard to explain. I know it doesn't show as well in the video. It just really is stunningly beautiful. And one day we hope to have a pool. And one of the ideas is to put the pool down at this level as an extension from where I'm standing at the bottom of the stairs, and to just go out, straight out with stone walls around it that kind of match the stone walls supporting the terrace, surrounding the pool. It's just one of the ideas, that we're a little ways off before we get to that. So we'll take our time. It might be hard to see, but right down the middle here, there's a little game trail. And so you can tell that the animals coming through the park often walk this way. This trail goes from a corner of the property out to the main road. And it's always here. You can trim the grass, but you can always see this sort of faint game trail. And, well, the animals know what they're doing, so it's a good path to walk on. And as you can see, as I'm walking up through the park, you really get a glimpse of the chateau. The bottom of the grand staircase, the monumental staircase, with the corner of the chateau beyond it. The trek back up the stairs. Now, when I did my first recording that I didn't record because I forgot to hit the play button, when I had gone to the side on the mid-terrace to where you see the wine barn, one of our cats was there, Ruby was there, and then she followed me for the rest of the tour. And when I got to this point, we had to pause and have a little fun play session, which I did record. In fact, it was the only part of the tour that I really had. So if Mark is kind, maybe he'll, put a little clip of that in of Ruby and I hanging out on these stairs, giving her a good, nice little pets and relaxing. And here's more, this is the wall supporting the mid-terrace, so you get a little more of a sense of this wall. Regrettably, in, I don't know, the early 2000s, I think, some of this wall actually came down and had to be repaired. But not much, just certain sections of it. So I hope that doesn't happen again in the future, because it looked like that was quite a job to do. We had pictures of it because it was all filed with the Architectes de France, which is the government agency that protects the exteriors of the chateau. I think sometimes people ask if our chateau is listed. So the answer is yes, but not the whole thing. And this is a little bit different than how things are done in the United States, at least, where often if a property is listed as a historic monument, sorry, I need to get into better shape. I'm kind of huffing and puffing after just walking up a set of stairs. It's just incredibly sad and slightly pathetic. Whew. Here I am in the mid-terrace. So I was talking about being listed. So unlike in the United States where when buildings are listed, the whole building is listed. In France, there's actually different classifications. And I think, I don't know, there's referred to as being classé, which is classified, and another term, which I don't remember offhand. But for us, basically, the chateau is listed as a historic monument, but it's protected, only the exteriors are protected. So these supporting walls and the staircases, these two stone staircases, are part of what's protected. And the exteriors of the chateau, the facades and its roof, are all protected. So any changes we do or work we do, then we have to go and apply or submit a file of what we're going to be doing, and the Architectes de France will have to approve it or disapprove it, or we have to wait for their approval before we can do much. We can do repairs, so that's good. And that's why our focus is mostly on the interior right now. We're going to come and do an exterior plan for the whole chateau at one time, so that all the works that we want to do can get approved at once, instead of just going for each item individually. We've been told that that's a great way to go. I hope you enjoyed our tour of the terraces of the chateau. And as always, please leave comments, let us know what you think, any ideas. Tell me what terrible things I might have said it completely incorrectly. We always enjoy the feedback. Thank you. Hi, this is Philip at Château Avensac. Ooh, cut out. Let's do this again. Hi, this is Philip at Château Avensac, and I am outside on the back terrace. I have...